Hello, online freshmen. This is Mr. Rose. I'm here with Miss Swanson, and we are here to give you a little bit of a snippet of what we talked about in classroom. This is High School 101, why counseling. We're going to give you hopefully some helpful information about, what counselors do, why we're here, a little bit of a taste of what you might see with a counselor, and then give you some information on how to contact us and how to make sure that you're using us for you to be successful as a student here at Shakopee High School.
Right. So thanks for the intro, Mr. Rose. I'm Mrs. Swanson, and we are talking to you about what school counselors do in the high school. And so counselors have three domains to their job. We meet with students about academic issues. We talk to them about college and career, and we talk to them about social emotional counseling. And so those are our three main areas. And within those areas, we talk to students about the things that are listed on this slide. We help them the goal set. What do they want to accomplish while they're in high school with us? Talk about growth mindset and how that can impact all areas of your life, and really reframing situations and self-talk, because we tend to be, just as humans, pretty hard on ourselves. And so really trying to change that conversation that we have into something that is not going to drag us down, not going to make us stuck in different types of thinking and so on. So our goal, we're going to talk today more about goal setting. So let's get to some specifics about how we can apply the goal setting to our lives.
Okay, I think the first step here when we're looking at applying goals is to start with a wonder, like a So if you say to yourself, wouldn't it be great if I looked forward to school every day? Even with distance learning, everything's brand new. You're trying to figure out how the heck you're going to use Canvas or send emails, and you're getting all kinds of information. How can you still look forward to school despite all that? What type of things would you be doing? How would you be doing academically and socially? You're at home. You don't get to be around maybe all of the friends that you would like to be around all day, but how would things look for you? How would you feel about being able to look forward to at least being able to do distance learning, doing school every day? So that's one of the things that we start with. We start with a wonder, what would that look like? And then from there, we try to shift towards what our goals would be. And for this second, maybe take a second or two to really think about what kind of things you want to accomplish this year. Despite having distance learning and you're a freshman coming in, brand new student, what type of things are you trying to accomplish? If you take a couple seconds to think about that, then we'll keep going and we'll take a look at what these goals may actually look like.
Yeah, and I think if you can actually jot it down somewhere, just even on a piece of scratch paper or something like that, I really think it helps. We're going to talk more about looking at the goal and some things that really help us in our trying to accomplish our goals, and things that may hurt the process and so on. So if you can just jot it down quickly, we'll talk more about it. So if you take a look at your goal, traditionally we find that it falls into one of two areas, either an avoidance goal or an aspiring goal. And so if it's an avoidance type goals, those are obviously things that don't help us as much in our goal setting. If your statements start with such things as, I don't want to fail a class, or I can't pass this class because the teacher doesn't help me, or I have to spend all day at home working, or I'm never going to get better, things like that. Those traditionally, if you start your goals like that, those are traditionally motivated by fear. They're really associated with uncomfortable feelings of anxiety, of nervousness, and so on. And so obviously, we don't want you to be feeling those types of things during the day or during high school. And so we'd rather have you have a more aspiring type of goal. And so instead of starting with the I don't want, you can start with, I want to pass my class with a C or better, or I can get better at Spanish if I visit the Academic Resource Center to get some additional support, or if I talk to my teacher to get some additional support in that class. What if I spend 1 hour doing work and then I take a 20-minute break? Or wonder if I set up my schedule so that it's more realistic. instead of thinking I have to sit in front of a computer for 6 hours because nobody likes that. That's not fun. So just trying to change your wording a little bit so that you're really looking forward to these goals, you're energized, you're excited, and have those really positive feelings associated with your goal. And really trying to understand the difference, because we all fall into the trap of having those avoidance goals. I know I do. I'm sure Mr. Rose feels the same way. That just happens naturally. But if we can really reframe those things, we can accomplish a lot more in our goal setting.
Mhm. Absolutely. So then when we're trying to move from maybe an avoidance goal to versus to more of an aspiring goal, it's how do we actually get ourselves to that point? So think about these statements on the left side here that you've probably said to yourself. I said these to myself. Ms. Swanson, you've probably said these as well, something similar. We look at things like I'm no good at drawing, or people don't want to hang out with me, or I suck at this, or I'm terrible at that, or I'm no good and I always and I never, right? All of those statements, we call those fixed statements. And you've probably heard about this before. And the thing about fixed statements is, one, they actually might be true. But the second thing about that is it really doesn't give us it really doesn't give you the full story of what your experience actually might be. So then we want to make sure that we're trying to expand on that story. We're not trying to change the story, but maybe just expand a little bit so we can get a bigger picture of what we can see here. So on the next slide, we actually have some ideas for you to be able to help expand that story a little bit. Let's say it's very true that you're not a great drawer at all. You just have it, you pick up a pencil and it just doesn't work for you. And you say that to yourself, I'm not a good drawer. Then what we wouldn't want to do is just have you just talk about like how you're a great drawer and you're great at drawing and you're great at drawing, you're great at drawing, because you're not going to believe it and you're going to be lying to yourself and you're not going to feel any better about it. So how do we live within that truth, but also give ourselves some options? So the first thing that we would do is say, we can add little sentence stems. Like if you look at the blue right there and I say, hey, I am no good at drawing, but it's possible that I could improve if I, and then you fill in the blanks of all the different possibilities that could happen. That's a way to help open your story to having more actions that you could take towards improving and towards getting towards that goal, if drawing were important to you, which is a different conversation. But if you look at the purple, this one helps to give us a little bit more encouragement. I'm no good at drawing yet. That at least opens up your timeline a little bit to where you give yourself a little extra time. And that last one is more of a wondering, like, what if I were actually to improve and be better at drawing? Or what if I were a good drawer? What would that look like? What kind of things would I be doing? These are great ways to, one, acknowledge the truth about yourself, maybe that it's true that you're not a great drawer. And that's okay, but let's not sit there, especially if it's something important to you. We can hopefully expand and give yourself some more options.
Yes, I love that. So honest does not need to be negative, and you're not positive at the expense of the truth. So I love all that. And really that does reframe our conversation. So when you talk to a school counselor about goal setting, we are going to ask you questions about it. We're not trying to change your mind. Your goal is your goal. We just want to help you take the steps necessary to accomplish that goal. So we might ask you questions such as, how are you going to feel, or what's your life going to be like if you accomplish this goal? Where should we start? Have you tried something before? Did it work? Did it not work? What are some things you want to do going forward, and so on? So we're just going to ask you more specific questions to try to get to the different pieces of your puzzle, to try to really try to look at the big picture and try to get more accomplished.
Absolutely. So some of the keys that we take away to goal setting, and I'll come back to that first one, but one of the things we think about is one step at a time. If every day you commit yourself to laying one brick, I love how Will Smith says it, every day just lay one brick. Don't try to figure out how to build the whole wall, but just lay one brick. If you commit to you're doing that every day and you just lay one, you look back at the end of the year, you've got a nice sized wall. After 2 years, an even bigger wall, and then 3, 4, 5, 6 years, you have a nice sized building. And then remember, it's a process. There's ups and downs. There's 2 steps forward. There's 1 step back. There's all kinds of things involved with that. And then with that, it's okay to kind of pivot and see how different opportunities open up. The last thing I would say is when you run into problems, one of the key questions you can ask yourself is who can help me out here? Sometimes we get stuck in the how can I just do this myself? But a lot of times, and this is a great reason why to reach out to a counselor, is to think about who can help you. And then when you start to think about, maybe there's a village around you that can help you get to wherever you need to go, that can help open up some possibilities for you in terms of really getting to the goals that you're trying to accomplish.
Right. And we just understand that this process is hard. It can be really hard depending on what you hope to accomplish. And so not every day is perfect, but like Mr. Rose said, if you can just take one small step forward, that's still a step and that's still working towards your goal. So, like Mr. Rose was saying, going to see the counselor who can help you. I really think of school counselors as someone that helps students process through information. You get a lot of information every day from all aspects of your life, but school counselors can help you kind of sort through those things. I'm the type of person that likes to talk things out. I have a bunch of information and ideas in my brain, but I feel a lot better if I can sit down with someone, talk things through, and make sure that when I hear myself say it doesn't make sense and so on. I know Mr. Rose has talked a lot about clarity and how much school counselors can help you see kind of through all of the mess that life presents. Okay, so we want to talk about some resources available to you. You are online, so we try to streamline everything for students, and we have a high school 101 website. On this website, you're going to find contact information for Mr. Rose and myself. You are not labeled into alpha or omega teams, so you'll find your school counselor on Infinite Campus, or you can just shoot one of us an email, and we'll make sure that you are in the right space, that you're talking to the right person. We have a YouTube channel where we've recorded videos about registration and about graduation requirements, transcripts, credits, things like that. And so you can check out all of our videos on the YouTube channel. We'll also be sending out announcements and reminders for you to watch those. We also have individual websites. All the school counselors do, but there's a link for Mr. Rose and myself. And then there's an exit ticket for this presentation. I'm going to throw the QR code up on the screen, but if you could fill this out, we'd love to get to know you a little bit better. It's hard without seeing students face-to-face or even over Google Meet, and we'd really like to know the class of 2024.
Awesome.
All right, well, you have a wonderful day. Thank you for sharing it with us, and we'll see you later.